I'm going to start today with some interesting facts, and I'll leave you to arrive at the conclusion. So, one of the facts is this: a chicken once lived for 18 months without a head. That's fact one. Two, drinking alcohol isn't just a human trait. Animals enjoy getting drunk too. And it is a fact that chimpanzees are known to raid stocks of palm wine built by villagers. Fact 3. Butterflies taste with their feet. Fact 4. An average of 63.4 billion naira was spent on print advertising in the year 2024. Fact 5. An average of 500 new persons buy a copy of News Directs on a daily basis. So I'll leave you to arrive at your conclusion, whether these facts make sense to you, whether they are useful or not. By the way, please, can I have the lengthen here? Thank you so much. So I start with those interesting facts because in life we get used to hearing a lot of information, and many times this information might not be useful to us, or it might be useful to us. It now depends on what we do to it. And for me, this afternoon, I believe what I'm about to share, some of you might find it useful, to some others might find it funny, and to some others might just be there. For me, I started this journey right from what I say before I was giving birth to. I can say that because I was one of those kids who, before they even came out of their womb, they've made a conclusion about your life before you arrived. To say, okay, you, this guy, this is what you're going to do with your life. Immediately you come out, we've tailored it from you from primary school to secondary to university. So that was kind of life I came into. But that's not where I'm going. So it all started when I was 7. We had another day, I think I was in primary 4 thereabouts, or primary 3. My education was really fast. And then there was nothing much to do at home. I mean, at that time, because still had not really developed this much. Nowhere to go, no fun place to go. And so I was so bored at home. Then my dad arrived one morning, and then he came with 2 books. And he said, I want you to finish these 2 books today. I said, really? How did I want to do that? Those books were like a compendium. You would think they were a dictionary. So he gave me those 2 books. One was by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana. Another was by, forgotten his name. And yes, another was by Chief Gani Fawemi. So one was an autobiography, and another was a biography written by someone. And so I finished those books that day, and then following day, he gave me another set of books. He said you have to finish these ones also by the time I come back from work. Fortunately for me, that day I did not return back from work, and I did not finish those books. But by the time he returned, he asked me pertinent questions regarding what I learned in the book, and then I could provide some answers. And then he said to me in the eyes, he said, these people you've read about, do you know you can be greater than them? Do you know you can do better? Do you know you can start now? And then I was shocked. I'm 7 years old. I don't have means of livelihood. Your money are giving me to school is my income. For some of us, that might be our situation right now. Your only income is from your parents. And so I was wondering, where do I start from? And that brings me to my first point. What led me to where I am today? So I started out by volunteering in the company. So in News Directs, we don't just believe that leadership would drop on your lap. We believe that you have to earn that position. And so even for me as the son of the founder, when the paper started, I had to work my way up to the top. So I started out in one of the departments, our production department. So our production department typically works between 7, maybe most times between 5 p.m. till the following day, that's till 2 a.m. So my holidays that was the beginning of, let's say, greatness and also some kind of sorrow for me, because that means holiday periods, There was nothing fun to do before, but now it was going to get even more boring. I was going to be going to the office at night and then stay back all through. And then subsequently, that holiday ended, I moved to another department when I got to the following class. And then I did that all around. And today I can say there's no department you want to tell me about in the company that I don't know. And all of this contributed to me taking over as CEO subsequently. By 2023, I lost my dad in July, and for us it was very painful. It was very painful that the visionaire person who had started the company was going to leave, and there was going to be a vacuum. But that vacuum was not going to be left for so long. Why? Because there was someone that was already being groomed, that had been in the system, that had been in the process. And so immediately he passed on. In fact, while he was at the hospital for about a month, I already took charge. So many people did not know. So immediately the day he died, and then I started, because even I myself, I did not know. I was on the field, walking, and then I heard on radio, this governor is greeting your daddy, he has passed on. I said, how did it happen? I ran back and I went to the hospital. And so from that moment on, people started asking questions. What's next? What is going to happen? And so that brings me to my topic this morning. How do you build a sustainable brand? And how have we overcome challenges? So I will tell you from my personal experience, and I'll also tell you from the experience I had working not just as the CEO, but as one of the management staff in the company. So one of the first things I would say about building a sustainable brand is there has to be consistency. There has to be a level of consistency. So what does it mean when you say a brand is sustainable? When you are talking about sustainability, it means you set a particular level to say, okay, this is the standard. I fall short. So many times when we have management meeting, our management meeting is usually a period of questions, a period of providing deep thought thinking. So I can bring a copy of our newspaper, print edition, and I'll say, why should you buy this paper? Because selling your business starts with you. It does not just start with your customer. You can't just say you want to present something to the public that even you yourself, you can't pay value for. And so many times I ask the question, if you are just a random person and you see this product, what would draw your attention to it? So you have to identify that area. What problem are we solving? And what value are we creating? If you don't identify that, then you've already missed the first step. Because for me, I can't buy what does not interest me. Many times, they are just random things that interests my choice of purchase. For example, for the past 6 months, even though I'm a CEO and I have to go to public events and state outings, many times I've been wearing short sneaker. Why? Because I just felt, okay, I look good in this compared to wearing my suits or wearing my kaftan on a normal day. So in building a sustainable brand, I feel you should start with that question. What level of excellence am I laying for my brand? So is there a certain level we must not drop below? Because when you are saying something should be sustainable, you are saying, since we've set this standard, is it that we are going upward or upward? That's what it means. Is that we are going up or up? The standard must not fall short. Let me give you an example. I think all of us are familiar right now. There is a campaign by UAC. UAC Foods is the producer of Gala and many of the other popular drinks and snacks that we grew up knowing. And so recently, the CEO of USC tweeted that, okay, they've reintroduced the old recipe that we all knew for Gala. And then many people were like, oh, it's a lie. Because many people don't, I'm sure how many of us here still eat Gala? You think you just one out of the majority. So those numbers have dropped. Why? Because there was this certain savory that when you eat Gala, like, You won't just have one. It's not possible for you to just buy one gala. Even if you are broke, you definitely buy two, at least two. Am I right? Exactly. So he said they were going to introduce the new ingredients, and I saw a very interesting video, and it's to show you how the psychology of the human mind works. Someone did a video and say, okay, the CEO said this, I want to test it out. And one of the standards that guy had was, when you open your gala, what is that thing when you want to open your gala that you do? How do you open your gala? See, everybody knows that. That's the standard. And the guy did that first. He said, no, that's failed the first tests. So you as the owner, you have a different standard. Your standard is on the recipe, how hygienic it is, how the design is. But the standard of the consumer is different. So you need to understand that even if I'm setting this standard, is it something that will not just interest me? Because you're not just creating a product for yourself, you are creating the product for someone. So you cannot just think of yourself, but you have to think of others too. That's my first point. Second point is you need to have the right human capacity. Listen, one of the most difficult things, even as you're expanding your business, as your business is growing, is human capital. Human capital is is very scarce to find. I tell people, as easy as we hire people, like there's no week we are not hiring. If you come to the office, do we have vacancy? Yes, we have vacancy. Because human capital is difficult to find. And so as an entrepreneur, I hire and fire as quick as I can give you grace, but I have to look at the business side of it. How sustainable is it for me to keep you as an employee? I've trained you for 3 months. I've even had one-on-one with you, introduced you to a number of persons, and for 3 months, no results, no ROI on your head. Because for each employee, there's an ROI on your head. You don't know. Whether you're a cleaner, it impacts the overall business. I can imagine if any of you step out now and you go to the restroom, and then you see the restroom all messed up, and you are a parent who is intending to bring his child to Adidokun. Just tell me, would you have a change of mind? Would you have a change of mind? So that's true that every person in an organization is integral to the entire success of the organization. So when I'm saying there's an ROI on everybody's head, it means if you are playing your parts dutifully, its impacts on the other. So everyone is working together to achieve that purpose. So what was my first point? Can anyone remember? What's the second point? Alright. Let me just read something I jotted down here regarding some of the challenges we face. So, running a media organization in Nigeria is no small feat. It's a journey filled with obstacles, and it requires resilience. You have to know how to adapt, and you have to be very strategic in your thinking. Now, I read out some figures for you. I said 500 new persons buy the print edition of our paper daily. How many of you here can assume that nobody reads newspapers again? Just raise up your hand like you believe nobody reads newspapers again. Exactly. So, was that fact shocking to you? That there are 500 new persons that buy the hard copy of our paper every day. Even myself, when I found that out, I was like, wow, really? What is making them to buy these products? So, you need to have that resilience, because in my industry, everybody's threatened by technology these days. Everybody is threatened by it. Whatever business model you're operating, you are looking at ways to integrate technology into what you do. But in our sector is even more difficult because first, the major challengers are not just those that produce the news content. The major challengers are the content aggregators, and this is what I mean. You open, maybe nobody even uses their browser again. It's to show you how things are moving. People only use their browser to check for news. So you open X or you open your IG, news is shouting at you, not just from one source, but from various sources. I did a prank one time, and please don't try it at home or anywhere else. I did a prank one time, and I said I was engaged, and I posted it, but I did not post the person's face. There were different reactions. So even pictures I did not know I have on the internet, people started piecing up together and saying, okay, it was with this person at this time. It was with this person. And then you'll be wondering, even now I don't have that information. So the greatest challenge to my industry today is content aggregators. Content aggregators are making over $1 billion alone from this country. And I read that for the print industry, that's only the print, 64.2 billion was spent. That's very little compared to what the content aggregators. Content aggregators are not producing anything. Content aggregators only distribute. Do you see? So you need to be very resilient. You need to have that doggedness if you are going to thrive as an entrepreneur. It's very important. Let me move on. My time is going. So I'll just take two more challenges that we face and I'll move on from there. Another challenge that we face beyond financial pressures is government and regulatory constraints. Many people might not know, apart from personal individuals, the sector that is most threatened by the Cybercrime Act is the media sector. And this is what I mean. Gone are the days when you can just come online and say, maybe you say something about me and say, I wore a blue hat yesterday. And it's not true. You know it's not true. But because you are trying to make Elon Musk to pay you, you tweet it. And then you are surprised when they come the following morning, they kick down your door and they pick you up. Because one of the things that the internet does is it gives us that freedom. But there's a difference between freedom and liberty. The fact that you have freedom doesn't mean there are no confines, there are no boundaries. And that's what liberty does. When we say someone is at liberty to do something, it means the person is operating within the confines of a specified law or a specified regulation. And so the Cybercrime Act is one of the things that really threaten us. We can't really do you can't really do as much reporting into some things as you will want to. Or the following day, you find yourself inside DSS cell with no window, just darkness. You don't know who will slap you. So those are some of the things that are challenging us. Likewise, we also have the challenge of foreign exchange. So we still run the print edition. So Nigeria we don't produce the raw material that used to produce paper. So many of the things that have ingredients of paper, they are not produced here. They are imported either from Thailand, India, and all of that. And so, for us, we are trading in Naira, making 90% of our income in Naira, because many of our digital transactions, it can barely cover our operations in the time being. So if we are doing that in Naira and we're importing, let's say, 10 tons every month, 10 tons of paper every month, you're spending about 40 million or 45 million. You've not factored in your logistics. And so for us, the FX is also a bit challenging to our industry. But on the flip side, we've been able to diversify, and as far back as 2010, when we actually started first as an online platform. We started sending out newsletters, And before it even became rampant amongst our other colleagues, we already started doing e-copy editions. So before you purchase our hard copy editions, we already had the e-copy edition. So many people had seen that before then. So by the time we needed to start doing hard copy, it was a no-brainer. We already have an audience for it. Likewise, the different social media channels. The only difference is we do not have enough knowledge at the time when we opened many of those socials, and we did not have enough human capacity. So, for example, these days is somewhat easy. When you lose your Instagram page, a lot of followers, you can get it back. But then, I can't count number of accounts that we've lost. By the time we lose it, we don't know anybody to help us. So we just open a new one. We start afresh. But that's part of the challenges that we faced earlier. We did not have enough expertise. And now we are tackling that problem. We now have a separate team that we call a digital media team. The digital media team handles all of our data operations, the websites, the podcasts, our social media channels. And so we've been able to integrate that. Then likewise, we've also been able to take advantage of the influence that we have. So for example, we do events. We do more events. We also do public relations and consulting. So events, taking advantage of number of readers that we have. We know we can easily draw people to attend our events. And so that's one of the things we pitch. And then brands that are interested in partnering with us on specific sectorial topics. So they are not just random topics or random subjects. There are still things within our core strengths. So our major strengths are business. We focus on oil and gas, focus on telecom sector, and then we focus on real estate. So many of our events are centered around that. We pick up a trending issue or something we think affects this sector, and then we address it, and then we partner with the brand. So for me, every day when I wake up, one of my habits is I check our website ranking. I check the income for the week. I check how many copies were sold the previous day. If I don't get it, it's trouble already by the time I wake up. Then I check other key statistics because I'm someone who have a goal in mind. And if you have a goal in mind, you have to be overzealous about your goal. You can't just say this year in my business, I want to sell 500 bags or I want to make 500 million. How are you tracking it? Is there a daily update? Is there a strategy to achieve it? So what are the things I need to put in place to say by the end of the year I want to sell 350,000 copies? So that means on a daily basis, I must have the statistics at the end of the day. How many copies were printed? How many copies were sold? How many were unsold? How many were lost in transit? So you have to ask yourself those questions. So finally, I would say News Direct is a success story that's still being told. Everybody has their definition of success. What might be success to your company might not be success to me. So your goal might be to achieve a $1 billion valuation. My goal might be to be a leading media company that stirs up conversation. So, and this is what I mean. For example, if I say I want to be someone brings up every conversation that happens in every sphere, it means when you trace a conversation regarding a particular subject that is trending, it means it originated from this place. So every business has what they measure as success. And so I'm just going to leave you with this question as a wrap up. What does success mean to you and your business? Thank you.